SOCR Outsider. Rapid shot style with double elemental calibration. This gives you power surge chance when you hit an enemy. Critical hits give you more power surge chance. You get plus 30% based on your power surge chance, which means when you crit, you will continue hitting power surge to the point that every single bullet becomes a power surge bullet, like so. 41 in the mag, that means I'll be proccing that big bada boom bolt at least twice per magazine. It is ridiculous. The stat that you want to focus on to maximize your damage is psi intensity. This is an elemental weapon, so all of your damage comes from psi intensity. So that means all your armor you want to have max tier, so 6 stars, or 5 stars in this case, and fully calibrated. If you can only 6-star one piece of gear, the mask is the most important as it gives you the most psi intensity. That was good. That was good. That was a good start. Okay. On the SOCR Outsider, we're using Static Shock. This does not inflict the power surge status, so it does not matter if it has no duration. It just raises the amount of damage it deals, which is fantastic. You're looking for elemental damage, status damage, damage against enemy types, and either reload speed or magazine capacity, in my opinion. Good to know, actually. So, we're going to put, we'll throw that in there. Good call. You want to get a key item mod, or a key affix mod, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but this one rolled Power Surge, which gives you 2 Power Surge specific rolls. In this case, what you want to focus on is Power Surge damage and damage on targets with Power Surge. They sound the same, and that's kind of because they are. So you'll just do more damage per damage, if that makes sense. You want to get that on a Static Shock mod. If you can get Power Surge damage, damage on targets with Power Surge, on a Static Shock mod, that's going to be your best bet. Did I do good, Skelly? In my offhand, I'm using the DE50 Wildfire, but the Bingo may well be better. It's just going to raise your weapon damage, which doesn't really do much. You're only getting bonus from the vulnerability, but if you want your weapon to do more damage too, Bingo's still good. Wildfire I prefer because it gets more bullets downrange and spreads, which is just nice. For the mod, Vulnerability Amplifier. For the weapon, I'm using the Long Axe because Fortress Warfare is good and gives you more damage and survivability. Moving on to the armor. We're using the Mayfly Goggles key item because Power Surge trigger count +1, which means every time we trigger Power Surge, it triggers twice. At the cost of 30% damage, but you're doing technically double the damage minus 30%, therefore you're still doing a bonus math amount of damage. We're not doing math. We're good. It does damage. On my goggles, I'm using Deviation Expert. I'm running a lunar version of this build, so low HP means more damage. That is fantastic. You want elemental damage, status damage, damage reduction against deviants, which is just helpful, and damage against enemy types. I like this mod quite a bit. For the mask, we are using Thunderclap. You want to roll a keyword suffix on Thunderclap as well. That is Power Surge damage, damage against targets with Power Surge. I did not get that, so I'm using element damage, status damage, damage against enemy types, and then I'm also looking for magazine capacity or reload speed. On my gloves, status enhancement. This one I'm looking for element damage, status damage, damage against enemy types, magazine capacity, reload speed. The usual. On my boots, I'm using Rush Hour. Less HP means more damage. Attributes are still the same. On my chest piece, I'm using Ardent Shield, because the shield is what keeps us alive, so if we take a huge amount of damage, we need to make sure that the shield will continue to keep us alive. Same affixes. On my pants, I'm using Elemental Resonance. Elemental damage up to 24. Since every single one of your bullets does elemental damage, this is a no-brainer. If you are enjoying this so far, please make sure to give it a like. Type in the comments what build you want to see next. Leave a subscribe if you feel so inclined, and I would like to make your dreams come true. That's what we're going with. It's pretty good. Moving on to the Cradle. We are using Anti-Void. We use a rifle. Rifle do more damage, good. Rapid Aid, because when we do have to heal, we need to heal pretty alright. Deviant Energy Defense, because shield is what keeps us alive. Status Enhancement. We do status damage, therefore status do more damage. Status damage, good. Elemental Sense. After dealing elemental damage, we do more elemental damage. That's good. Tactical Combo. We reload often. It's just some more damage. It's alright. Transient Impact. This is the only shock-specific mod on the Cradle that gives you more power surge damage up to 25%. It's good. And Heavy Strike, just because it's more damage, no reason not to. It's good. I like damage. If you have the food that gives you 2 negative whims when you eat it, you're going to want to use Chaotic Thoughts. So if you have 2 whims and low sanity, and one of them is like one of those negative ambient whims, this will give you 10% more damage reduction from deviants and 10% more damage to deviants. It's quite nice. For food buffs, you're going to want to use Whimsical Drink. This is a drink that gives you 25% increased status damage. If you have the Gourmand ability, it's going to make your whimsical drinks even stronger. You can combine that with a Chephosaurus Rex and get a massive buff. If you have Iced Treat Brain Freeze, that will give you additional potency. That is very much so required. For your food buff to stack with Whimsical Drink, you're going to want to use Surprise Spring Roll. So because this is a low HP build, your elemental damage will increase by 5 to 15%, doubled below 40 HP, which is also an insane amount of damage that you can stack with the Whimsical Drink. Very strong. For our Deviation, we are using Mini Feaster. There is nothing else that's going to give us the damage we need, so Mini Feaster is the way to go. If you can get a 5/5, that's incredible. A 4/4 with Growing Pains 3 is still fantastic. This increases status damage received by up to 70%, which is tremendous. This gun absolutely melts.